extremely excited to have our first talk today. So we're going to be talking with Dr. Stephen Hwa, and you'll be able to hear a lot about him. But we're going to go into talks about classical Tai Chi today, about the history of things, and I'm just going to pick his brain as well. Me, as you probably can see from my face, I am very excited today. Yeah, to have you on and to be able to have this time with you is going to be an honor, and it is currently here now.
Yes, I'm very excited to get onto your program too. Yeah. So you know something about the Tai Chi, right? You are experienced in Tai Chi.
Yes. So I practice the Gudang animals. For myself, I use it as martial because I do boxing as well. Right. So my whole thing is, my whole practice is going in depth to the internal work in Kung Fu, in all of the styles of Kung Fu.
Right.
Drawing that beauty and that power that comes from the internal practice.
Yeah.
And then my personal practice is to go and play with people who do boxing, Muay Thai, MMA, but use the internal with them in their own style and see how it gives me an advantage. That's what I like to do.
That's exactly the kind of spirit I have too. You know, Tai Chi is not something by itself. Tai Chi, not relate to other things. That cannot be true. If it is a real correct body mechanics movement, it should apply everywhere. It's not just Tai Chi. So
it's not just Tai Chi.
Yeah, that kind of thinking is exactly what I'm thinking about. YouTube video. I don't know whether you have seen it. It is called the application of internal discipline in sports.
I wanted to speak to you about this today because I recognize that as you spread light to 21st century Tai Chi practitioners, right. You're spreading light, but you're spreading light in the 21st century people. And I would love for you to tell us a little bit about what it was all about, you doing this sports application video.
You see, if it's something real and true, it should be applicable everywhere, right? Yeah, yes. That's the kind of thinking we all should have. Yeah.
What made you see that you can now apply it to other sports? And when was that?
Well, it's just my conviction that this internal discipline is something real. And if it is real, it cannot be just in Tai Chi. It should be everywhere. That's my conviction. So I started looking into the sports, and I kind of surprised. I find that, yes, everywhere is applicable, which I'm almost surprised myself.
Who were some of the people who surprised you upon watching their sports videos?
Okay, I myself play tennis. So when I watch the tennis, Roger Federer, Serena Williams, but I think what really surprises me is Manny Pacquiao, his movement. It really, fits in with the internal discipline. I'm really surprised. And also the football player,
the relationship that you are seeing within your conviction is that it should be applicable everywhere. That in itself is a powerful observation. Their sport requires them to be in the right position at the right time.
They don't get into the internal beforehand. They have using external motion and so forth. But at the critical moment, they reset their body structure into for the internal mode. At the critical moment, I look at not as accomplished sports person, their timing will be missed. But these guys never miss their timing. In the critical moment, go into the internal structure of the body and do the internal move. That is the key of these people so higher. The internal force, the distance is very short. Miss the timing, you do it too early, you lose some of the power. You do too late, you didn't get it. Now, external movement is different. The distance is much longer.
You have infinitesimal power in the smallest space.
Good. Tai Chi form, timing aspect, unfortunately, quite a bit you have to learn from push hand with another person. By yourself, you cannot generate the timing because you don't have a object you apply your force to. See what I mean? Eventually, very quickly, you will find your response during push hand will be very automatic. You will not think. In fact, all the moments, even the transition moments, everything is internal. So the purpose is your internal energy, or then Chi will go with it at that stage. Well, when you practice the 108 form, the internal energy and the Chi circulating in your body never stop, never stop.
That's so almost like the moment when the fold happens between you shifting from one mode of external to another mode of internal. Yeah. You see the little the change.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
What's the difference between Qigong and Tai Chi?
There's two types of Qigong one can think about. One is called motion-induced Qigong. The other is called visualization Qigong. Because breathing Qigong is a motion-induced Qigong. You can feel your Qi, your breath goes in and out, and you move your limb, right? So it's a very simple motion-induced Qigong. Visualization Qigong, you only use your mind. You don't see your body at all, okay? You will visualize like a little red flower circulating into your body, in your body, using mind. But it is high-end, but it is also dangerous. People could get into psychosis. In fact, in China, there is a hospital, has a ward for treating Qigong psychosis. The visualization Qigong, you are playing with your mind. At this age, in order to train my neuromuscular control, I sometimes practice the form close the eye. Emphasize the neuromuscular control if you close the eye and do the form.
It seems like you've also been teaching for a long time. And I know when we do these forms, if, for example, we put paint on our feet and did the form, there'll be a very geometrically accurate picture that we would be painting on the ground.
Yes. That's especially obvious in the square form. In the round form, not as precise. Okay. You don't see it as so precise. But in the square form is precise. Well, you have to think about, if you're learning calligraphy, you have to start with block letter, or the what you call the regular script, stroke by stroke, right? Before you get into cursive, idea is the same.
Wu Qian was the progenitor, the founder of Wu style, right?
Right.
And so the compact or the small frame Tai Chi, right, which where the square form is usually is trained.
He said it cannot be changed. He emphasized he cannot be changed. Now, after I really know the form, I come to the same conclusion as he said. It cannot be changed because this logical structure are tied in everywhere. You see, not only fighting, we also have the logical structure regarding the health, the joint health, everything you do the fighting, you have to consider you're not hurting your joints, right? So this logical structure all tie in together. If you change anything, it's going to crash because there's so much tying in the logical structure.
And that's a big thing with what I'm doing here at Better Qigong Education, is making Tai Chi, making Qigong, making Kung Fu accessible for people, so that they can also relate to it and digest the information as well. Because that's a big part of Kung Fu, any style of Kung Fu, is that it needs to be transmitted to you.
Yes.
One needs to be initiated.
Right. And transmitted with no loss. Because if that's a trouble, if you don't teach square form, if you don't teach writing the block letters to start with, use a cursive to start with, can you imagine after a few generations what the shape look like? The square form really is important.
It keeps the integrity of the style.
It keeps the integrity. Yes. So you can go from one generation to the next. Keep it stable. Yeah.
So Shifu, one more question about the differentiation between the Tai Chi and Qigong, Shifu. So Qigong, so Tai Chi is Qigong, but Qigong.
When you are very good, and when you are practicing the form, you start developing Qi when you're good.
And we can, if people want to learn from you, how do they get in touch with classical Tai Chi with yourself?
Okay. I think there are classicaltaiji.com is one way to get into, because there is on the top, there are those buttons about the schools and the teacher, all these buttons. So you can get in. Classicaltaiji.com is the way to get in. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. You also have a YouTube as well, is that right? And you have a book. I heard you have a book.
Yeah, I have a book. Yeah, it's also on that under the classical.com.
Sometimes it takes that, like the unconventional move. Unsure if it's effective until you try it.
Yeah, right.
What do you suggest for somebody that wants to follow this and they have the intention to follow this?
Yeah.
What do you suggest that they do to become this?
Well, I mean, the teachable, the online course is to follow. But I think the YouTube video also helps, right, Mark? Explains more details, certain things. Pick a one tiny subject and explain. Yeah.
So do you
One
suggest people learn the square form on your YouTube as well?
you on the no
No,
can no the
no.
teaching law. It's too complicated. Too
Okay.
complicated.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The details are important. So go
Detail
to
important. Yeah. Yeah.
classicaltaichi.com for that.
Yeah. Right.
I just want to extend my grades as well. And thank you both for coming today and like creating this dialogue and to
Yeah.
keep, to keep these beautiful ancient arts alive and
Right.
in
Right.
interest.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, and thank you, Mark,
That's
for
everything. Yeah.
suggesting that
Thank
too.
you. You're helping this effort.
Mm.